Hey good people, hope y'all's day is going good. I got another Reddit story for you all. While I am reading the story, I am going to be playing some Minecraft Survival. The title is, My daughter accuses my stepson of harassing her toddler, destroying my chance at a dream wedding, and turning my life into chaos with her choices. Well, this one is going to be fun. Let's get into the vid.
Throwaway because some family members use Reddit and I don't need this getting back to them before I've even figured out what to do. I, 45F, have a daughter, Kayla, 23F, and a granddaughter, Mila, 2F. Kayla had Mila very young, and her father has never really been in the picture in any meaningful way, so for the past 2 years it's basically been me helping raise Mila while also supporting Kayla. Her boyfriend left her and moved abroad, so they've been living with me rent-free since Mila was born. I cover most of the groceries, utilities, and a lot of Mila's expenses because Kayla's work situation is inconsistent at best. I'm not saying this to throw it in her face, but just to explain the situation. I've tried to be there for her even when I don't agree with her choices. She tends to jump from one bad situation to another and then expects me to help clean it up. That's been our dynamic for a while. About a year and a half ago, I met my fiancé Darren, 48M. He has a son, Liam, 16M. They recently moved into my house a few months ago after we got engaged. Things were fine at first. I was honestly really happy. It felt like I was finally getting a second chance at having a stable relationship and building something for myself, not just constantly reacting to Kayla's life. Liam is a lot. He's not a bad kid in the sense that he's not getting into serious trouble or anything like that, but he's loud, immature, and constantly trying to be funny. He likes attention, and he doesn't really know when to stop. The issue started with how he interacts with Mila. At first it was small things. He'd go into her room when she was napping and try to play with her, or he'd take her toys and hide them, so she'd come looking for them. Sometimes he'd play videos on his phone near her, louder than necessary, stuff like that. Annoying, yes, but I didn't see it as anything serious. Kayla did. She started complaining that Liam was targeting Mila and stressing her out. She said Mila wasn't sleeping properly anymore and was getting more fussy. I told her toddlers go through phases and that not everything is some big issue. She kept bringing it up, saying Liam wasn't listening when she told him to stop. I did speak to him once or twice, just telling him to be more mindful, but honestly he would just laugh it off and say he was playing with her. Darren didn't see a problem either. He said Liam just likes kids and doesn't always know how to interact with them properly. Kayla didn't drop it though. If anything, she escalated. She started using the word harassing, which I think is completely over the top for what's basically a teenager being annoying and not understanding boundaries. She kept saying I wasn't taking her seriously and that I was letting it happen. Then she installed a nanny cam in Mila's room without telling anyone. A few days later, she comes to me with clips saved on her phone. It's Liam going into the room while Mila is sleeping, tapping on the crib, making faces, pulling her blanket slightly, stuff like that. In one clip, he wakes her up and then just stands there laughing when she starts crying. I'll admit, it didn't look great, but at the same time, I still didn't see it as anything beyond him being immature and trying to get a reaction. I told Kayla that yes, it was annoying, and he needed to stop, but she was blowing it out of proportion by acting like it was something bigger than that. That's when everything blew up. She said she didn't feel comfortable having Mila around Liam at all anymore, and that he shouldn't be allowed near her. I told her that wasn't realistic. This is his home too now. I'm not going to police every interaction or ban him from parts of the house because she's decided to label him as a problem. She said I was choosing him over Mila. I said that wasn't true, but I also wasn't going to create this extreme situation over what I still see as fixable behavior. He's a teenager. He needs to be corrected, not treated like some kind of threat. She kept pushing, saying I never take her seriously and that I always minimize things. I told her she tends to escalate everything and expects everyone else to adjust around her. It turned into a full argument where she basically said, I care more about Darren and this new life than I do about her or Mila. That's not fair. I've spent years putting her first, cleaning up after her decisions, and putting my own life on hold. Now that I finally have something for myself, suddenly I'm the villain because I'm not reacting the way she wants me to. It ended with her giving me an ultimatum. Either I make sure Liam stays away from Mila completely, or she and Mila are leaving. I told her if she feels that strongly, then she should do what she thinks is best. So she left. She packed up her things and went to stay with a friend, as far as I know. And now she's telling family that I chose a teenage bully over my own granddaughter. My sister has already called me saying I'm being cold and dismissive. A couple of other relatives have messaged me basically saying the same thing. Darren thinks Kayla is being dramatic and trying to control the household. He's upset that she's making Liam out to be something he's not. Liam, for his part, just says he was playing and didn't think it was a big deal. I do think Liam needs to grow up a bit and learn boundaries, but I also think this is being turned into something way bigger than it actually is. I don't think it justifies blowing up the entire household and putting me in a position where I have to choose sides like this. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm going to be the bad guy here. So AITA for not kicking out my stepson or completely restricting him over what I see as normal, if annoying, teenage behavior.
Story Lounge opinion. While I understand Op has been dealing with her daughter and constantly supporting her, and I do think she deserves to have a new life, as she has done her job with raising her daughter, even going out of her way to house her rent-free. However, this behavior from the stepson is completely wrong. He is acting like a child himself when he is a full teen. Op needs to put her foot down for this type of thing, even if it risks her relationship, because at the end of the day, it's her actual granddaughter, and she's being bullied. This is not something you push under the rug. Thank goodness the daughter has some sense and has left. You're the huge asshole here, Op. You're naive and are being selfish. The stepson will push more of your boundaries, as you have left this behavior unchecked, and your attempts to speak to him have done absolutely nothing. Very idiotic behavior.
Update. I didn't expect the response I got on my first post. A lot of people were harsher than I thought they would be, and I still don't agree with all of it, but I figured I should give an update because things have gotten more complicated since then. First, Kayla did not come back. She's still out of the house. From what I've been told, not by her because she isn't speaking to me directly. She's staying in some shared place with 2 other girls. I don't know the full details, but it sounds cramped and honestly not ideal for a toddler. That's part of why this whole situation frustrates me so much. She made a big decision very quickly instead of trying to work things out. She hasn't asked me for help either, which is new. Usually when things get difficult, she comes back, or at least reaches out. This time she's just gone quiet with me, but not with everyone else, because apparently she's been talking to everyone else. My sister called me a few days after my post and basically went off on me. She said Kayla showed her the footage from the camera and that I was deliberately ignoring what was in front of me. I told her I had seen it and that I didn't think it was as serious as everyone was making it out to be. She said that wasn't the point, that it was about me not stepping in when I should have. Since then, a few other family members have reached out, and it's all the same thing. Different wording, same message. That I enabled it, that I minimized it, that I picked my fiance's household over my own daughter and granddaughter. I don't think that's fair, but it's clearly how it's being presented. It hasn't just stayed in the family either. Some of my friends know now too. I don't even know exactly what Kayla told them, but I've had people I invited to the wedding either decline or just stop responding altogether. One of my bridesmaids told me she didn't feel comfortable being part of it anymore, given the situation. She didn't even ask me my side of things properly before deciding that. So yes, the wedding has started to feel shaky. Not canceled, but definitely not what it was a few weeks ago. Instead of being excited, I'm dealing with people questioning me and pulling away. And at the same time, things in the house have not exactly been calm either. Without Kayla and Mila there, I thought it would at least be quieter. It hasn't been. If anything, I'm noticing more of Liam's behavior now that there's no one else for him to bother. He's been pulling little things that I used to just brush off, moving my stuff around so I can't find it, turning the volume up on videos early in the morning, coming into rooms just to say something random, and then leaving. It sounds small written out like that, but when it's constant, it adds up. There was one morning where I had an early work call, and he was playing something loudly right outside the door. I asked him to turn it down, and he did, but with that same attitude like it was all a joke. It's that reaction that's starting to get to me more than the actual behavior. I tried to address it properly a few days ago, not in a casual way, but actually sitting him down and telling him he needs to respect the space and stop with the constant interruptions and pranks. Darren stepped in almost immediately and said I was overreacting and that Liam was just being a teenager, that I shouldn't take it so personally. That's when it hit me that this is probably how Kayla felt the whole time. Every time she brought something up, it got brushed off. Not necessarily ignored completely, but not taken seriously either. Just explained away as, he doesn't mean anything by it. I'm not saying it's the exact same situation, but I can at least see the pattern now. That said, I still think Kayla handled it badly. That part hasn't changed for me. Something else that came up is the footage. My sister sent me longer clips that Kayla apparently didn't show me at first. Not edited, just more of it. It's basically more of the same behavior, but over multiple days. Going into the room, bothering Mila, ignoring when she says no, or when Kayla tells him to stop. It does look more persistent when you see it all together like that instead of in short clips. I can admit that I probably underestimated how often it was happening and how deliberate it was. I thought it was more random than it actually seems to have been. But even with that, I still don't think the way Kayla handled it was reasonable. Installing cameras without telling anyone, going straight to ultimatums, leaving immediately, and then telling everyone her version of events before I even had a chance to process it. It feels like everything escalated to the worst possible version of itself very quickly. Darren still thinks she's overreacting and causing unnecessary drama. He's also not happy about how this is affecting the wedding and how people are now looking at Liam differently. He says it's unfair to him. I'm starting to feel stuck in the middle of this in a way I didn't before. Final update. I guess I'm back here again. So from last time, things have more or less settled, just not in the way I really expected. Well, the first thing is the wedding is off. That's probably the biggest thing, so I'll just say it up front. It's not postponed, it's not on hold, it's done. Everything kind of built up, and then shit hit the fan. After my last post, things stayed tense but somewhat manageable for a couple of weeks. People were still talking. I was still getting the occasional message or comment about the situation, but I was trying to focus on moving forward. I thought if I just kept things calm and didn't engage with every opinion, it would die down. Then we had a small pre-wedding gathering planned. Nothing big, just a few close friends and some family, more like a casual get-together before everything. It was supposed to be one of those moments where things feel normal again. Kayla showed up. I didn't expect her to. She hadn't spoken to me directly since she left, so seeing her there caught me off guard. She had Mila with her, but she kept her close the entire time. She didn't come to talk to me. She just stayed on the other side of the room with my sister and a couple of others. I was already on edge, but I told myself to leave it alone. I thought maybe it was a step toward things cooling down. It wasn't. At some point, Mila started crying. Not screaming, just upset the way toddlers get when they're overwhelmed or tired. Before Kayla could even really do anything, Liam started mimicking her, like he thought it was funny. At first, I thought it would be a quick thing, and he'd stop, but he didn't. He kept going, louder, like he was trying to get a reaction out of people. A couple of guests looked uncomfortable right away. Kayla told him to stop. He didn't. Mila got more upset, which just made him keep going. It turned into this really uncomfortable moment where everyone was watching and no one really knew what to do. That's when Kayla lost it. She called it out right there, out loud so everyone could hear. She said this is exactly what she had been talking about and that I chose to ignore it. No one laughed, no one brushed it off. People just looked at him, and then at me. People started leaving not long after that. Some didn't even say goodbye. They just made an excuse and went. Darren tried to step in and defend Liam, saying he was just joking and that Kayla was overreacting again. That didn't help. If anything, it made it worse. After everyone left, it turned into a full argument between me and Darren. He was angry that I didn't shut Kayla down in that moment. He said I should have backed him and Liam instead of letting her make a scene. He thinks she came there specifically to create that situation and embarrass us. I don't know if that's true, but I do know what I saw. And for the first time, I didn't have a way to explain it away. I kept thinking back to everything Kayla had been saying, everything I had been dismissing, and how easily I kept brushing it off as something small or fixable. Seeing it happen in front of other people made it harder to ignore. It wasn't just annoying in that moment. It was uncomfortable, and it didn't stop when it should have. Darren didn't see it that way. He doubled down, said I was letting other people's reactions influence me, and that I was turning on Liam over something minor. That's when it really hit me that this wasn't going to change. It wasn't just Liam's behavior, it was the way it was always handled. Excused, minimized, redirected, every single time. We argued for hours. It went in circles. At some point, it stopped being about that one incident and became about everything leading up to it. I told him I couldn't keep defending something that clearly wasn't improving. He said I was choosing my daughter's side after everything she's done. That was basically the end of it. The wedding got called off a few days later. Officially, it was a mutual decision, but realistically, it was already over after that night. There wasn't a way to move forward when we couldn't even agree on something that basic. Darren and Liam moved out. It wasn't dramatic, just quiet and final. There hasn't been much contact since. From what I've heard, Darren still thinks I overreacted and let the situation get out of control. Kayla hasn't come back either. She did message me once after everything, not to fix things, but just to say that this is what she had been trying to show me from the beginning, that it was never about something extreme, it was about repeated behavior that wasn't being taken seriously. She also said she doesn't trust me to prioritize Mila, not because I don't care, but because I keep minimizing things until they become bigger than they needed to be. I tried to respond, but it didn't really go anywhere. She's not interested in coming back or pretending everything is fine. My family is still divided, but more of them are on her side now. After what happened at that gathering, it's not even arguments anymore. It's just distance. People don't say much, they just treat me differently. So that's where things stand. I lost the relationship, the wedding, and I don't really have a relationship with my daughter right now either. The house is quiet again, but not in a good way. I can admit now that I didn't take things as seriously as I should have. It wasn't dangerous, but it also wasn't nothing. It was consistent, and it was affecting Mila more than I wanted to admit at the time.
Story Lounge. Opinion. Good on the daughter for protecting her child, but she definitely shouldn't have showed up to that event. Even if it sounds petty, it's really not, and that whole thing could have been avoided, but at least she exposed her mother to everyone. As for Op, I don't know what she expected, or why she thought that getting married to somebody who would protect and defend such stupid behavior for his teen son would just work out all perfectly. OP really needs to step back and take time to actually think about her decisions, because now she might have lost all contact with her child and grandchild, which could have been avoided if she stepped up earlier. Realizing this too late is her own fault, especially after seeing literal footage. Hope Op grows and becomes better at her decision making.